Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the fourth and final day of our Lammas Symposium with Goddess Temple Teachings tutors. I'm Lisa Fletcher, and it's my joy and pleasure to be here this morning with Maria Jones, who is our star priestess. Maria is going to start us off with a little prayer. Over to you, Maria.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. It's so lovely to be here with you today. So just inviting everyone to drop into the stillness. Maybe close your eyes and allow yourself to be really present as you open to receive the magic of these teachings today. Feeling your feet on the earth, sinking your roots down into the land beneath you, and opening your crown center, your crown of stars, reaching up to the cosmos, knowing yourself as a being of heaven and earth, a bridge, a vessel for the love of Goddess to flow through as we move through this time of transition here on this planet, as we move from one great aeon to the next. Feeling the presence of the goddesses of the planetary spheres. Feeling your connection to your own star template, your natal chart, your soul's map for this lifetime. As we call to the great cosmic mother, she who has many faces and many forms. In this land, we call her Ariane Rod of the Silver Wheel. We call her Danu, the Ancient One. Throughout the aeons, she has been called many things, yet remains indefinable. Breathing her love and inspiration down into your heart. Feeling your heart opening to receive as we step through this portal together this afternoon. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Thank you, Maria. That was really wonderful. Thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Oh, that's always a good question, isn't it? So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Maria Jones, and I am a priestess of Avalon and also the creatrix of the Star Priestess training. I often call myself a goddess astrologer because I work with the goddesses of the spheres. I work with people to help them to understand their soul's blueprint through understanding their natal chart template. And the big focus of my work at this time is really using astrology to help guide people through this time of transition that we are living in here on the body of Gaia, who is also a planet at this time.
Thank you. That was lovely, and it's really good to have you here with us talking about your Star Priestess training. So can you tell us a little bit more about the training?
I would love to. So in this training, we take the initiate's journey through the planetary spheres. So we move through the planets and signs that many of you are familiar with from astrology, but we redefine them for this new aeon. And what the work of the Star Priestess is really about is reclaiming the goddess within astrology. So in traditional astrology, we know that many of the planets, many of the signs have masculine connotations, and sometimes mythologies which are not supportive of feminine empowerment or our journey as women and priestesses. So a big part of the work we do is reclaiming that mythology. But as we journey through your natal chart, as we journey through the template, we are taking you on a deep inner alchemical process to reclaim all parts of yourself and all faces of the goddess within you. So we're looking at everything you have been in every lifetime, every priestess you've been, and everything that you have the potential to become.
Wonderful, thank you. That's I love astrology. I have never tried to learn it for myself, but I love hearing astrology, and I'm fascinated by it. So what first drew you to astrology? Where did your journey with astrology begin?
Oh, that's another great question. So I've always been interested in astrology. I've always been interested in everything goddessy and magical. I was very lucky to be brought up in a home where goddess was recognized. So I've always had these kind of inclinations, and probably my first introduction was tarot and seeing how astrology and tarot overlaid. But I became really serious about astrology when I was going through my Saturn return, which, if you know about astrology, you know about the Saturn return. And my Saturn placement is particularly intense. So I was having a very challenging time. I have Saturn in Scorpio in the 8th house, for those of you who are astrologically inclined. And a friend said to me, oh, you know, what you're going through is part of this Saturn return process. So being the kind of scorpionic type that I am, I researched everything about astrology, and I studied it, and then I began doing readings, and it just became part of my life. And then when I stepped into the Priestess of Avalon training, I could really start to see the overlays between the cosmic energies and the wheel and the goddesses that we recognize during certain parts of our wheel of the year. So these kind of inspirations and downloads started to come in, and I just thought, you know, we really need to redefine astrology. You know, we really need to have these feminine faces included, so it can, you know, really become a healing modality for women who are drawn to these more cosmic energies at this time. And as we're entering the Aquarian aeon, Aquarius rules over astrology, so it becomes even more important for us to understand our own astrology. And what better way to do that than working with goddess?
Wonderful. And it's been such a popular course, hasn't it, as well? And it's one of the courses that we have that you can do as an online and in-person option. So that involves some weekends in Glastonbury and some weekends online. And also it's possible to do it wherever you are in the world, fully online as well, without the need to come to Glastonbury. So that's been that's been really popular. So what about your spiritual journey? How did your spiritual journey start?
Wow. So as I was just saying, oh, my cat Lilith is coming to join us as well.
Wonderful. We love cats.
Come on, Lil. No, yes, no. No, she's not. Oh, no, she is. She wants to be on camera. She's got her phone on today. But she's here, bringing some Lilith energy. It's another astrological goddess that we work a lot with in the spiral, actually. And I think actually Lilith was probably one of the first goddesses that really came to me on my journey. She's a goddess that I have always really connected with. So it's great to be able to help people activate their Lilith through their natal chart as well. But I was really lucky to be raised in a household where things like tarot and altars
Wow.
were very common. So I was really blessed in that way. So I always had spiritual inclinations. But I think my journey really deepened and began when I had my son. I had my son, he was born on the autumn equinox, and I was quite young. I was 19. And having a child, I think, really makes you think about life in a different way, and also gave me the opportunity to be at home and present, and just doing a lot more studying than I had done previously. So I began doing things like Reiki. I worked in a crystal shop for 10 years. There were many different things that I worked with. But the real catalyst for me was, of course, the Priestess of Avalon training.
Absolutely.
I think we all agree changes you in fundamental ways. So I think I found Kathy's book, Priestess of Avalon, about 10 years before I actually began the training, and it had such a profound impact on me. And yeah, as soon as I got the opportunity and the time was right, I stepped into the spiral, and my life completely changed after that. And here I am with my own training. So I think everything that I've done has been a stepping stone, but God has always been the constant. My devotion to her has always been the underlying factor of everything. So I am so grateful that I get to serve her in my daily work now.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maria. So, so for someone who, like me, who has never really delved into astrology before, I have had one. I'm one of those people that has an assumption that it can be quite difficult. Is that the case?
So this is many people's feeling.
Yeah.
And astrology, I think, like many of the occult arts, is a lifetime of study.
Yes.
You know, we can never know everything. There's always something new to learn. But it's not as complicated as patriarchal astrology likes to make it seem. So
That's good
really,
to know.
we're really working with 12 archetypes that manifest in different ways through the natal chart. So I like to work with it in a very mythological and archetypical way, obviously through the lens of goddess. So once you've learnt those archetypes, which is what we do in the first year of the spiral training, we begin at the beginning with Aries, and we work our way through the temples of Venus, the temples of Mercury, the temples of the moon. And we also, the difference with goddess astrology is that we also allow the intuition to be a big part of it. So one of the archetypes that we work with and that we invoke and learn to embody is what I call the star oracle, which is where we are working very intuitively with some of the places in the natal chart, particularly those that deal with previous incarnations. So we are developing technical understanding. We do need to have technical understanding for astrology, but also we want it to be this feminine flow. We want it to be this transmission. We want you to feel the embodiment of these goddesses in your chart when we're giving you a reading. We want it to be an activation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me, and really helps kind of dispel that kind of assumption that I had, that it was really quite difficult, and yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's had that thought.
Yeah, I think that's a big fear for many people. And once you learn the language of astrology, which is obviously one of the first things we do with the training, once you start to learn the language and the sequence of interpretation, which we break down in very simple steps. I offer you many different types of readings with steps that you can do, specific points that you can look at in the natal chart. So once you have these guidelines, it gives you that structure, and then you can lean into your own oracular interpretation and your feeling. And you're, as with any reading, you're very guided by the person that you are bringing the information through for. And a big part of our work, as with all of the goddess trainings, is to learn how to be her vessel, is to learn how to allow her to speak. So we use the language of the stars to do that. So yeah.
Absolutely brilliant, thank you. And has there been anyone or anything in particular that has been a massive inspiration to you and your work?
Yeah, of course, Kathy. I'm sure everybody's
Yes.
this week. But yeah, just seeing what has been created through her devotion is inspirational every day. And I think I often say to the students that she is the person that inspired me to redefine all of these archetypes, to reclaim them for goddess, to not be afraid to look for goddess underneath the patriarchal stories. So, of course, Kathy, and I'm inspired every day by women in this community, by things that they are posting on Facebook and sharing and offering. And I'm inspired by my students every day, how they take this work and bring it out into the world. We've got 3 of the second years publishing books this year.
Wow.
And different astrological topics. So it's incredible to witness. So yeah, this community inspires me.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because community is such an important part of any spiritual path, isn't it? And it's a very much a part of our spiritual path here in Avalon as well. So that's really interesting. And how about the goddess temple? So when did you first discover the goddess temple?
So I think I discovered the goddess temple shortly before I began my training. I don't know how many times I'd been to Avalon and maybe not seen it. Like I said, the first thing I found was the book, which was very activating to me. But yeah, I think maybe when I decided to sign up for the training, that was when the temple revealed itself to me. And I think there's nothing that really prepares you for seeing that for the first time.
Yes.
Feeling the energy of walking into, the first goddess temple, to be on the soil of Albion and in many thousands of years, I think. So just stepping into that experience and, knowing that this is a place where we can be expressive in our devotion to her. And again, look what somebody has created from that space of love. And just being able to go there and see it change throughout the seasons and take other people there as well. I had a beautiful experience where I was taking some people on a journey around the stone temples and around Glastonbury itself over the summer, and I took them in the temple, and of all the places we went, that was the one that touched them most deeply.
That's wonderful to know. Yeah, thank you. And so how do you balance your spiritual practice with your everyday life responsibilities? I know we all do that.
Yeah. What I can say is, thank goodness I've got a Capricorn moon. Otherwise, I'd be completely off in the ethers. So yeah, that's always a discipline for me, because I do go up into the cosmos very easily. It's very easy for me to reach those kinds of spaces. So actually, for me, doing the mundane stuff is the spiritual discipline. So I think, having a family and those day-to-day things that you need to take care of, can really help you to stay grounded. But for me, I think it's really important to have daily rituals and routines. So I like to begin my day with my devotion to Goddess, with my working with what is happening in the cosmos. So I do that first, which then hopefully sets the tone for the rest of the day. But I think it's so important for everybody on the planet at this time to be having some space for the inner work every day. Because as we, elevate our own energy, we help to raise the energy of the planet as well, which supports
Absolutely.
I think, yeah.
And I think for me, I find having animals around really grounding as well. And, the care, like with your cats, looking after animals can be really grounding, can't it?
Yeah.
And is a prayer in itself.
Absolutely. And I also spend a lot of time amongst the stones. If anybody follows my Facebook, you'll see that I'm always on the highest mountain or near the the nearest stone circle I can get to. And I think that really reminds us to be that bridge between the cosmos and earth too. So yeah, yes. But the animals are great. I've got one sticking her claws into me right now, pulling me.
You're doing very well not to yell out then. So if someone was thinking about joining the Star Priestess training, and what would you say to them about the course? Is there anything that you'd like to share about the course that you think they would find useful if they're thinking about coming and they're not sure?
Absolutely. I think it's a call that you feel in your heart, as with all of the trainings, I'm sure. So she will speak to you and she will reveal to you whatever you need to know or see to move forward. And she often speaks in dreams. Actually, I have a lot of people say that they have dreams that guide them to training. So I would say follow that call of your soul. And if you feel that you are here at this time, if you feel like you've incarnated at this time for a very specific reason, if you feel these shifting energies on the planet at this time and you want to give them context and you also want to reclaim your connection to Goddess and do the inner work to be the clearest vessel that you can be, I think astrology is your best tool.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. That's really helpful. And the other thing that that Maria does is we have members of the Goddess Temple called Madrons. So our Madrons pay a certain amount a month as a membership, and for that amount they have access to different levels of content. And as part of that, Maria joins with Priestess Anna Sakara to do a monthly astrology session in our full moon virtual temple that we have, which is really popular as well, isn't it? So if you would like to find out about being a Madron, then I will post some information in the Goddess Conversations Facebook group with a link that you can follow to find out more. So yeah, so thank you. So thank you, Maria. It's been really, really wonderful to talk to you today. And I've really appreciated your insights into astrology. And I especially was thankful to ask the question that I've been longing to ask for a long time about my assumption around how hard it is. So that was really helpful to have that answered. So thank you. And yeah, blessings, and I'll see you soon.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa.
And I'll see you all this afternoon for our final Lammas Symposium session with Sally Pullinger later at 4 o'clock. Blessings, everybody.